later. So I think
Zohaib by mic off kay taso.
yeah.
Zohaib.
So توي لاندي طبعا يا ولي واو انا نسيت تميل كنت يعني اجي من يومين قاعد وصل set you sign the pen रबा on the spot खाली
सर लड़की आई इधर उसको ऐड कर दें।
اه أغيت ما خير أغيت سيوكاد أغيت يمكي بوفم
सर
yes but you 8 minutes wait yes already nah كنا خدين ولا بس for example Twitter san penda week na no is NF545 هذا one person say fake نتيجة سوق سوقتي سوق سوقتي نمبر سيد إنه سيد وسيدة بس إيش خبرنا okay بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم let's start with the class hello hello
जी सर।
एक मिनट बेटा कुछ हो गया इसमें बच्चों تاسو خپل سوق شیرینګ هونه کې دا ولې ماته مسله راځي
मैं सर सही दे दल
فرحانه وين يوم من صبر وكده اوكي راغي ها بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم so this is
सर तासो स्लाइड्स गायब शो सब बोलियो उसमें आधा यस सोशल सर ठीक था सर
راغي
ठीक था। आओ सर
okay
बिल्कुल सही।
so بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم we are going to start a new chapter which is chemical kinetics so what is the chemical kinetics today I will speak a bit in a low voice because I have some throat infection also so what is the chemical kinetics listen to me first chemical kinetics means the study of means this this is the branch of chemistry in which we study the rates of chemical reaction means how in which rate they with the speed how they proceed and the mechanism by which they occur how is the mechanism of the its occurrence so this is called the chemical kinetics for example how when it's for example a plus b this is converted into p so what is the rate of the reaction and how they convert into the product so this is called the chemical kinetics is clear
Yes, sir.
यस सर।
एक मिनट कुछ okay let's wait okay so this is chemical kinetics so this is I want to share now what for example for example this is a reaction R is the reactant is converted into product so the rate of a chemical reaction means chemical kinetics means in which we study the rate of a reaction so this is rate R is converted into P so the change in the we can define is the rate of a reaction the change in the concentration of the reactants per unit time are over specified interval of time for example, just consider it, R is converted into P. So rate is the change in the concentration. So for example, before the start of the reaction, it was R1. So after some time, the concentration become R2. So the change in the concentration will be equal to R2 minus R1. This clear or not?
यस सर क्लियर सर।
So this is, for example, R is the reactant, P is the product. So in initial, the concentration of the reactant was R1. For example, 100 gram it was. So after some time, after 20 minutes, we saw that there was change in the concentration. So this is the final concentration after 20 minutes is R2. So we can see the change in the concentration per unit time. First time, second time minus T2 minus T1, we can call it the delta T. So I mean the change in the concentration of the reactant per unit time over R, the specified interval of time, we call it the rate of a reaction. So first, chemical kinetics, in which we study the rate of chemical reaction and the mechanism. So what is the rate? Rate means change in the concentration over specific time or per unit time, we call it the rate of reaction. This clear or not?
जी सर क्लियर दी सर
Very easy. This is already you have seen these things. So now, for the, if we, in case you can see R is the reactant. So if in terms of product, we can write down rate of the reaction will be equal to P2 minus P1, change in the concentration of the product versus time. Per time, T2 minus T1. So delta P, we can write down P2 minus P1 divided by T2 minus T1. We can write down delta P divided by delta T. This clear or not?
सर ये P2 जो है
जी
सर
सर
ये
क्लियर है
सर द P2 छिकम दे सर
Uh,
द फाइनल छिकम मुंग सर
yes,
प्रोडक्ट दे
yes.
इनिशियल
For example, P1 is the concentration at time t at time 0. For example, and P2 after 20 minutes, the concentration will decrease. So it is P2 is the concentration of the product at time 20 minutes. So we can write down T1, T2 minus T1 means P2 is a product at T2 and P1 is a product at T1. This clear or not?
बिल्कुल क्लियर दे सर
So
यस सर
P2 minus P1 is the change in the concentration. So the change in the concentration per unit time, you can see P2 divided by time, we call it the per unit time. So this is the rate of the reaction. So you can see now, here it's clear now, you can see A plus B combines, they react with each other, so they are converted into AB. This is a product. Now you can see at the zero time, you can see the rate will be very high. And why? Because the concentration of A and B will be higher. Because this is time, for example, T1. T1 is T naught. I mean, at zero time, the concentration of the reactant will be high. So the rate of reaction will be high because first when we combine the reactants, so their concentration will be high, so automatically the reaction will move in the forward direction. There will be no product, so automatically the product will form. So initially you can see the rate is very high, but after some time you can see it goes down and become parallel with the passage of time. So after you can see with the time it become parallel, so it means initially the concentration of the reactant A and B is higher. After that, after some time, you can see the concentration will decrease. So after some time, it will become parallel. It means it will reach the equilibrium. If you remember, rate of forward reaction, rate of backward reaction. So at equilibrium. This clear or not?
यस सर क्लियर सर ये एक स्टूडेंट सर क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहती है सर बार बार मैसेज कर रही है
जी
सर अगर वो इज रेट ऑफ रिएक्शन बांधे नेम क्लियर द P2 माइनस P1 बांधे बदी बंद
वो खुद बात नहीं कर सकती
सर कह रही है माइक में कुछ मसला आ रहा है
Okay. So for example, I said chemical kinetics deals with the rate of chemical reaction. It means in which we study the rate of chemical reaction. How the reaction, speed of the reaction, what is the speed of the reaction? How it means it occur as slow, as fast, or medium. So this is called the chemical kinetics. Kinetics means to study the speed of the reaction, how it occurs, at which rate it will happen. So this is called the chemical kinetics. And mechanism, how it follow the path. It directly goes or it is converted into intermediate. So we call the chemical kinetics. No, the chemical kinetics means in which we study the rate of chemical reaction. So after that, what is the rate? For example, R goes to product P. So R is a reactant and P is a product. So we define, for example, at T1, the concentration of the reactant is R1. And at T2, that after some time, you can see initially at 0, you can see the concentration of the A at B is very high. But after some times, it becomes slow and will become lower. So this is R2 is the concentration of the reactant at T2. So So the change in the concentration of the reactants is R2 minus R1 is represented by delta R, change in the concentration, while change in the time T2 minus T1 is delta T. If we divide the change in the concentration of the reactant divided by time, so we call it the change in the concentration of the reactants per unit time. You can see our specified interval of time T2 minus T1. Our per unit time are specified interval of time. So this is called the rate of reaction. If we have the product, so we have to write P2 for the T2 and P1 for the T1. So change in the concentration of the products with respect to time, we call it the rate of the reaction. Now clear?
यस सर। सर ये दो स्टूडेंट्स कह रहे हैं सर कि हमें अलाउ करे सर।
وتالي زاد هذه كمان.
जी सर उमें भी बता सर वही जमंग लेके इमरजेंसी वानो।
Now this is another, you can see the rate, how the rate of the reaction decreases with the passage of time. So you can see it initially the rate is very high because the concentration of the reactant A and B is higher. So after some time it will decrease automatically, the rate of reaction will also decrease, making a slope. So after some time it will become parallel. So this means the rate of the reaction is higher when the concentration of the reactant is higher. After some time it slow down. Okay, so this is the rate versus time. Now, there are type of chemical reaction. One is called endothermic, and the second one is called exothermic. Endothermic reaction means which require heat from the external, generally in general word. This system gains energy in the form of heat. It means, for example, endothermic reaction are those which occur by which doesn't occur by its own. It means which occur by providing heat from the external. Endothermic. The system gains energy in the form of heat, absorb energy from the surrounding, requires an output of energy in order to happen. It means these are those reaction, endothermic reaction are those which occur by providing some external force or energy from the surrounding. For example, you can see when we dissolve salts in water, some amount of energy is required in order to reaction occur or to get dissolved. So you can see chlorides plus water plus energy. So after that they get dissolved. Okay. So these are those reactions. For example, also you can see the burning. Also you can see the dissolution of the material in water, so they are accelerated by providing heat, means they are endothermic in nature. So exothermic reaction are those which release heat to the surrounding. For example, losses energy to the surrounding, energy of the surrounding will, as it is, when it release the energy, so automatically the surrounding energy will increase. For example, sun. For example, sun. You can see sun reaction occur in the sun, so energy is released into the surrounding. You can see into the atmosphere. So this is the typical example. Also, the burning of material, when burning of the wood. So when you can see when reaction occur, so automatically heat is lost into the environment. So burning and the sun energy, these are the example of exothermic reaction. So you can see ice, when ice melts, so energy is gained from the surrounding. So this is endothermic nature. So when ice melts, so energy is gained. So that's why it's, so this is the endothermic in nature. So you can see ice melts, so heat will absorb, so it will change into water. On the other hand, burning, you can see the burning of meat, so it will release heat into the environment. So automatically, in the first case, endothermic, the energy of the seas, because the reaction occur by the cost of the heat absorption. While in the second one, in the exothermic, you can see heat is released into the environment. As a result, the energy will increase. So this is what is exothermic and endothermic reaction. This clear or not?
ये सर ये जो हमारे
Yes,
पास
sir.
सीमेंट है ये एक्सोथर्मिक है या फिर एंडोथर्मिक है?
जी क्या?
सीमेंट जो हमारे पास है जब उसमें पानी डालते हैं सर तो वो हमारे पास एक्सोथर्मिक रिएक्शन देता है या फिर एंडोथर्मिक?
Exactly. Summer, you can see when you put what we call the um, what we call tuna. When tuna is calcium hydroxide, isn't it? CaOH. When
जी
we
सर।
put it in the water, so it become hot. It means the reaction is exothermic in nature. In the same way, when we put water into cement, it become hot. So this means this is exothermic in nature because the heat is released.
ओके सर।
Hello? Is, for example, when we put calcium hydroxide in water, what happens? Blast occur. Heat is produced. You can see the fumes coming out from the container. So it means calcium hydroxides when react with water, so exothermic in nature. While when we dissolve some salts in water, so the temperature goes down. So it means heat is required there. This means the dissolution of the salt are they are endothermic in nature. So that's why when we provide heat to the sugar or any seal, so what's happened? The dissolution or the solubility increases because they are endothermic in nature actually. जी
यस सर।
yes is clear now?
यस सर।
जी सर।
So any question, please? I finished the class because these are the general topics. So no example, something. I gave you two examples. One is the melting of ice, and also this is endothermic dissolution of the salt, and these are the endothermic in nature. Why the exothermic? For example, dissolution of calcium hydroxide, CaO in water, calcium oxide in water, burning, and also the sun energy. These are exothermic in nature. So these are the examples. So many examples actually.
Okay, sir.
It's clear.
जी सर।
Clear, sir.
यस
Okay. Okay, I finished the class, and because I was in hurry, I'm going somewhere for the meeting. So inshallah, see you next time.
हाँ जी
But
सर।
keep in mind your exam will be your paper will be on 12th of December, and mostly there will be numerical because almost the first chapter is concerned with the numerical, if you remember. So inshallah we will. Okay.
सर जी स्लाइड्स सर पकार दी सर सॉरी।
Sure, I will send you. Okay, don't worry. Okay, when I get returned, then I will send it to you.
ओके सर। हाँ जी सही है सर। सर अटेंडेंस वाक लूँ।
Okay. Attendance wala jamala sente. Say that about you and take care.
ओके
Take
सर जी।
care and be happy. Okay.
ओके अल्लाह
ओके सर
हाफिज
जी।
सर, अल्लाह हाफिज सर।
Now leave the group. Hurry up.
द अटेंडेंस अदनान वाखला हाँ।
मैंने ले
सही
ली
से।
है।
Adnan,
जी
GR
सर।
NCR. Okay. Just
सर
okay. Send me the attendance as well as
हाँ जी।
inform all the students that the paper will be numerical and also some sort of theory, a little bit theory also will be included. Okay.
हाँ जी सही है सर। थैंक यू सर।
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
अल्लाह
Thank you so
खुशाल
much.
साथ
Thank
सर
you.
जी।
Thank you. Thank you. But you
सर
could pray there, huh? Shabbas. Leave the
अटेंडेंस
bye.
वागस तो सर थैंक
Bye.
यू। अटेंडेंस में वापस तो
बस
सर
माते
बस ग्रुप
रखूँ।
लीव कई जी जी सही है सर
ओके,
ग्रुप
थैंक
लीव
यू सो
कई
मच,
टोल
थैंक यू।
थैंक यू अल्लाह हाफिज सर